This is an information session about the proposed new enterprise agreement for principals employed in New South Wales Metropolitan Diocese. Today, your employer wants to provide you with some important information about the new proposed enterprise agreement that will cover your terms and conditions of employment as a principal. The proposed enterprise agreement is the Principals, Archdiocese of Sydney, Diocese of Broken Bay and Parramatta Enterprise Agreement 2013 and will replace the current Principals, Archdiocese of Sydney, Diocese of Broken Bay and Parramatta Enterprise Agreement 2011. Why do we need a new enterprise agreement? Your current enterprise agreement, the Principals, Archdiocese of Sydney, Diocese of Broken Bay and Parramatta Enterprise Agreement 2011, reached its nominal expiry date on the 31st of December 2011. Catholic education is facing significant challenges at the moment, especially in light of the significant cuts to government funding. The next 12 months will be critical for all Catholic systemic employers as they determine how best to ensure the provision of quality Catholic education within this environment. Given the current environment, your employer and the Independent Education Union believe it is important to provide principals with certainty in their salaries and conditions of employment for 2013. This certainty can be provided through the proposed enterprise agreement. The Fair Work Act requires that the content of the agreement be explained to employees in an appropriate manner. Your employer has developed a plain English document which summarises the key content within the proposed enterprise agreement. It is included in the email sent to you which contained this presentation. In brief, the proposed enterprise agreement largely replicates your current agreement, but includes some improvements to your salaries and makes a number of technical and typographical changes which have been agreed to by both the employers and the Independent Education Union. Firstly, with respect to salaries, the agreement proposes a 2.5% increase to principal salaries backdated to the first full pay period on or after the 1st of January 2013. If the enterprise agreement is not approved, you will not receive the salary increase and your salary will remain the same as it currently is. Secondly, the enterprise agreement formalises the 2.5% increase to salaries which you have been receiving since the first full pay period on or after the 1st of January 2012. Please note, these salary increases match the increases offered in New South Wales government schools for 2012 and 2013. The enterprise agreement also proposes a number of technical and typographical changes, and all these changes have been agreed to by both your employer and the Independent Education Union. For instance, to improve clarity, calculated fortnightly and casual rates are now included in the enterprise agreement. In the past, only an annual rate was included in the enterprise agreement, along with formulae on how to calculate the fortnightly and casual rates. There have also been changes made to the parental leave and superannuation clauses to update them in line with legislative changes. In summary, the proposed enterprise agreement is not intended to be controversial. It is put in place to ensure your employment conditions are protected. The proposed enterprise agreement, as far as possible, preserves your existing entitlements under your current agreement and incorporates a number of technical and typographical changes agreed to by your employer and the Independent Education Union. The enterprise agreement also secures pay increases of 2.5%, effective from January 2012, which you have already received, and 2.5%, effective from January 2013, which will be back paid to you if the enterprise agreement is approved. The Fair Work Act also requires that employees have access to the proposed enterprise agreement and all documents referred to in the enterprise agreement before the vote takes place. Soft copies of the proposed enterprise agreement can be viewed at the dedicated enterprise agreement making website www.ccer.catholic.org.au/Schools Fair Work Info. If you encounter any difficulties at all accessing an electronic copy of the agreement, please contact your Catholic schools or Catholic Education Office, as it is essential that you have the ability to be able to view the agreement before you cast a vote. In order for the agreement to be valid, we first need to put it to a vote, and for the agreement to be able to be approved by the Fair Work Commission, more than 50% of valid votes cast must say yes to the agreement. The vote will be conducted electronically by the Australian Election Company, a neutral third party. The Australian Election Company will email to you instructions on how to vote electronically on the 2nd of April 2013. These instructions will contain your personal identification number and password, which will enable you to vote electronically. Voting will commence at 8 a.m. on the 2nd of April 2013 and close at 5 p.m. on Friday the 12th of April 2013. It is imperative that you cast your vote before 5 p.m. on Friday the 12th of April 2013 to ensure that your vote counts and that you receive the wage increase proposed by the enterprise agreement. Each employee, including casuals, who has worked during Term 1 has the right to vote. An FAQ on the ballot has been prepared and is included in the email which contained this presentation. The FAQ is also available at the dedicated Enterprise Agreement website www.ccer.catholic.org.au/Schools Fair Work Info. If your employer does not have an email address for you, the Australian Election Company will post your personal identification number and password to you. If you do not receive an email containing voting instructions on the 2nd of April 2013, or your PIN and password via post shortly thereafter, you must contact your employer immediately. So, what needs to happen to have the proposed enterprise agreement approved? Under the Fair Work Act, the proposed enterprise agreement needs to be endorsed by a majority of employees who cast a valid vote. After the 12th of April 2013, the Australian Election Company will advise your employer and the Independent Education Union of the outcome of the vote. If a majority of employees across all the New South Wales metropolitan employers who cast valid votes vote yes in favour of the agreement can be lodged with the Fair Work Commission for approval. The Fair Work Commission will then assess each enterprise agreement to ensure that it complies with the Fair Work Act. In particular, it must be satisfied that it passes the Better Off Overall test. The Better Off Overall test ensures that the terms and conditions of the enterprise agreement will provide better conditions overall for principals. If the Fair Work Commission then approves the enterprise agreement, it is expected that the new enterprise agreement will commence 7 days after approval, and the increased salaries will commence and be backdated to the first full pay period on or after the 1st of January 2013. I would now like to recap all the information I've provided to you in today's presentation. It is important that we provide principals with certainty in salaries and conditions for the 2013 year via an enterprise agreement. The proposed enterprise agreement secures a further 2.5% salary increase for principals for 2013, preserves existing working conditions, and includes other technical changes agreed to by your employer and the Independent Education Union. Your employer and the IEU both support the new agreement. On behalf of your employer, I encourage you to cast a vote in the upcoming ballot and vote yes in favour of the agreement. Please vote yes and return your vote before 5 p.m. on Friday the 12th of April 2013. Finally, if you have any questions or queries regarding the proposed enterprise agreement or the vote, please contact your Catholic Schools Office or Catholic Education Office or the Independent Education Union on the relevant number listed above.